What's up? So, one of my friends asked me yesterday, as a black man, how do I feel about, or what's my opinion about things? Yeah, she said, "What's my opinion?" Words are very important. She said, "What's my opinion? What's my opinion on things?" Basically, and my response, which we talked this morning, which prompted this video, my response was, "What age did you learn to identify color?" She said 2, which she later told me that most people probably don't learn that 2 because she identified color at 2 and learned how to read at 3 and blah blah blah. She's honestly practically a genius in multiple different aspects of arts. But another point. I said, "When did you learn to differentiate color?" She said age 2. Cool. So, from ages 2 to about now, you've had the ability to identify color, right? Cool. Yes, it is sad that obviously people have died and people are protesting and rioting and doing dangerous things and people are against it and it's all bad across the field. Yeah, sure, whatever. But it's even more, how can I say this, disgusting that that's still the way that like you're identifying. You're like, are you talking about races? Are you talking about black versus white? Are you talking about like don't be racist? No. The fact that we even identify, and you're gonna have to like, this isn't. I was told to ease people in, to be nice, little sweet. So I'm gonna try, but like you do realize you're still identifying by an organ, right? Like your skin is an organ. It's not even like the most important organ you have. It can be severely, massively damaged, and you can still live. I mean, you're going to not have a lot of functions that you had before and have to make some adjustments in life, but you can still live. So you're identifying by something that you were born with that you didn't really have a choice or say so in, and you feel that somehow people are identifying you by that, making a lot of general assumptions based upon that, in which you probably are doing the same continuously about other races, including your own race, because, I mean, that's what you do as a human being. You see something, you think about it, you make assumptions and thoughts and judgments, because that's literally how your brain works when you take in things through your senses, like your eyes or your ears, or you hear things. Wow. It's like, oh, you just assume, you just look at people and you just judge them? Yes, I do. All the time. Who wouldn't? That's what you literally do, whether you want to or not. It's how your brain works. Good person. So you're taking all these things, you're making sense out of them in your mind, and you're making judgments based on them, and you're responding accordingly. Cool. The fact that you can only still do that by race, that's an issue. I mean, it might as well start learning to identify people by, I don't know, maybe they start wearing a badge that shows their heteroplasmy rate in their brain, so you can look at their neurological decline over years and immediately be able to look at that and be like, that person's brain is not functioning optimally, so they don't have the perspective that they need to even be able to assess the situation properly, in which they can actually give me a valued opinion that can either, one, show that I am one living not in my own reality, or not living in the reality, but my own reality that I've created. I'm looking at things correctly. Or two, that they are actually indeed batshit crazy and I'm looking at the situation correctly and they are not. Either way, having a good sense of how someone's brain brain is functioning based on a numerical value, maybe something that doesn't have to be super judging. That sounds more fun categorizing people than just looking at race or wealth. Or how about we show a number that looks at maybe your average heart rate, your resting heart rate, or actually more importantly, your heart rate variability, the time in between your heart rate. So it can look at overall cumulative stress and see how it is that you're actually responding to real life events, instead of just looking at your race and assuming things about you. A lot of these things can actually be picked up on people who actually take the time to study people. Maybe look at the way people walk, look at their shoulders. Actually take time to look people in their eyes. Are their pupils dilated when they see you? How do they look? Do they look to the left when they're talking to you, to the right? Do they feel angst? Are their bodies closed off when they're talking to you? Maybe if you actually cared about life as much as you say you do and actually studied life the now, the present, being in the moment. A little bit of Zen, throw some Christianity in there, whatever. Just be in the moment, be present, and look at people. Maybe you would actually start to see some things that you didn't notice before. It's really interesting that I think people assume that they can assume things about me. One, mainly because I'm naked a lot. Motherfuckers, I was never naked. What can you even tell from me being naked? I purposely and intentionally have no tattoos. I have no piercings. I have a couple scars that are definitive. What information can you garnish from me being naked in front of you? I'm a man, I have a penis. You should have already known that. Okay, he's fit. Cool. You have eyes. You can say things that are completely obvious. So much emotional attachment attached to the feeling of being naked and cornered. Which is really what's going on right now. People feel naked and cornered in their identity, in their skin. And so people are acting out in ways, and I'm not just talking about the writers, I'm talking about everyone in general. Sorry, I don't mean to assume. A lot of people in general, maybe you're not, you're acting out because you feel cornered. I get it. You feel cornered and you feel like you don't have a choice, that you have to pick a side based off this thing that you were born with and you really don't have control over in these circumstances, and you just have to respond and react the way you do because that's just the way it is, and things have to happen that way because that's reality. It's your reality. See, that's why I want these badges that like show, your heteroplasm rate and your neurological function, because I can immediately show you that you're wrong because your perspective is so narrow. It's harder because so many people function under the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is you're so competent in your ignorance and your complacency of lack of knowledge that it's mind-boggling. I don't even know. I have no other way. Like, I'm literally in awe. You're so based off nothing. You've come to this conclusion, and you say, "Well, I'm degreed in this. I know this." Blah blah blah. Okay. You do realize, and this is fact, that most of what we studied about cells and biology in the body and mitochondria has been based off studying dehydrated cells, which we have learned a couple decades ago, that the cells don't function the same under a microscope dehydrated as they do when they're living in the organism in the body. So most of the science that we've based everything off of for probably the last, I don't know how many years, is based off inaccurate assumptions. We think that vitamin D in pill form is somehow equivalent to the vitamin D that your skin would produce being hit with the rays of the sun hundreds of millions of miles away as the earth is spinning, I don't know how many thousands of miles per hour around the sun, and the sun is making all this happen, but you think the vitamin is going to be just as effective. Man, the hubris of man, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, people think I joke around a lot, but like, what, you can like vibe me on this level? You still identifying as a race. Like, I have to joke around because it's fucking funny. Like, that's all you got? Like, I mean, you can go low or high, wherever you want to go. I'll identify with you. We can talk about your microbiome in your gut health. We can identify by that. We can identify by your cells, whatever you want. I mean, but you have more bacteria and viruses living on your body than you do human cells, but it's whatever. Also, I mean, we can go up. You can identify by some super high sense of spirituality as well. But even that, you say you're Christians, but you're responding off of race. I mean, you saying it, but you ain't acting it. Like, if you on that level, then you should be bringing a lot more things into fruition. And you say, well, I can't just make miracles happen. Well, you should read the Bible a little harder. You're called to do greater works than Jesus. And you say, well, I'm not a Christian. Well, if you're spiritual, and even if you're not spiritual, let's say you're an atheist. Even as an atheist, you should feel like humans should have evolved faster than this. I mean, come on. as spiritual sense, you should just feel enlightened and connected to the ground and earth, and it should be pretty hard for you to be feeling all this angst and hatred towards any one side, or even to identify as a side, because you should identify as a whole because you're a spiritual being. So I mean, no matter how you want to look at it, anything besides this basic primal instinct of identifying color, I mean, that's all that's really going on. And assigning some moralistic values to actions done by a couple people. Come on. No, I'm not here to play that game. It's just so boring. There's so many other games that trust me, I play on a daily basis, games within games within games within games that are a lot more fun. Like, study up on some shit. Like, learn to identify as something different, outside of the norm. You can stand alone. Eventually there'll be a bunch of other people alone together with you, and you don't have to feel cornered and backed up and in a situation to where you have to identify as this one thing. Fuck all that. Sincerely, of course. Thanks for watching.